All right, making a flying vehicle part two, texturing and refining and stuff like that. So I use the phrase visual language a lot, and I just kind of use it to mean everything that's been built was designed by somebody or a group of people, usually with fairly consistent sensibilities, and it's existed in the same location, so everything has the same kind of wear pattern and all of that, and it's usually representative of the design processes that are popular in that area. Here, so there's something like this as opposed to something like this as opposed to something like this. These are not all mix and matchable parts, even though they're all kind of the same idea, And so you want to be thinking about something like this as you're building your vehicle. In fact, a lot of times that's why I like image textures so much, because you get a lot of those decisions and rust patterns. Each of these like little hooks has the rust under it. You get all of that for free, so you just borrow somebody else's design sensibilities basically and blend them into your own. You'll end up with a more realistic thing in the end. But it doesn't just have to be like something like this. Something like this is great. Or yeah, I can picture that. A bus would be weird. Cool. And all of these are just look like their own thing. I'm going to have one of these canvas things. I love this so much. So what usually I'll do is I'll start copying and pasting or screenshotting and just pasting into Photoshop a big image sheet like this, a big just texture sheet. And so as I'm unwrapping, I can stick different bits on here and use them how I want. And so this is what I made at first, but I wasn't particularly happy with it. I mean, I do like this grill. I think I'm probably going to bring that back. But then yesterday I was talking to Blake Rizzo on Twitter, and he sent me an image of this train right here, and I was absolutely in love. I think this is a snowplow train from I don't even know where, but I love this big wedge shape and this whole bit. I want to just steal this, like straight up. This is absolutely fantastic, and so that kind of gave me some inspiration. And so I went back onto Flickr, and I went into their CC0 public domain section and just started searching for trains, and I found some stuff that worked okay. Found this guy, which it's fairly high res. It has a lot of different varieties of things on there. It's got the stickers, it's got ladders, it's got lights, it's got big open slabs of material. It's got everything, and so I thought this was great. It was maybe a little bit too low res, even though it's so big. Most of these details are kind of lost. So I threw it through an AI upreser, which actually did a lot in being able to bring back some of those details so that I could really use them. It's got some weird artifacting, I guess a bit, but I actually don't think that'll be a big deal once I use it in the material. So yeah, I think I can move ahead with this. I'm actually going to bring this into Photoshop and place some other bits in here that I think I might want to use as well. Here, in fact, let's open up the hue here. I'm going to select the reds, which will probably select the rust too, so this might actually not be a great idea, but let's push it a little closer to yellow just so it might blend with this a little bit better. Photoshop's great for cleaning up things like this. This isn't even really a particularly efficient way to go about it, but all right, so here we go. Got a bunch of different usable bits in here. Some high res, some low res, lots of different types of shapes and materials, but all of which kind of follow the same overall rules. So I'm gonna save this and jump over to Blender. And actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fill this area right here. So if we want to, we could just unwrap going straight onto this area without having to avoid this sky bit. I think that'll make a lot of sense. See, can I just do it like this? This is probably not going to work. That's not bad, actually. But it's not great, either. So here, I'll just grab this chunk. Fill that in. because it's so greebly, you can see it's very forgiving. Maybe the same thing, just the very same one over here. Huh, that's just, I guess, raising that up a little bit. Turn down the hardness. Cool, okay, now we have a nice big open area that we can use. Resaving. Alright, and here we are back in Blender, gonna save this as a new version, just in case. And the reason I cleared up those holes is, actually, can I just go Shift-G, oh no, I've almost got it. Okay, so back in Blender, and I want to try texturing this initially all at once. So to do that, I'm gonna, I don't know, because there's wiggle bones and all of that on there, everything's cattywampus. So I'm gonna hit Alt D to create new instances of all of this, hit Alt P to clear it from the rig, and then Alt R to clear all of the rotation stuff. So now it's just its own thing, but anything I do to these pieces will also be done to the original. So it's just an easier way to get everything square. So I've got the green material. Let's call this the overall material. I'm going to change the base color to our little sampler. Okay, and it doesn't know what it's doing right now, so I'm going to select all of these, hit Tab to go into edit mode, and open up the UV editor. And right now you can see all of our primitives are still trying to hold on to their original UV mapping. That's ridiculous, so I'm going to hit U, cube projection, just to quickly see what we've got. I'm going to try centering it right here. And how does that... Look at this! And this is where you hope for happy accidents and are often rewarded, because this is some good looking stuff. So now what we do is we'd go into local view and we would start just refining. You know, I'm going to cube project this again and just try finding somewhere to stick it that works better. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go straight on and hit U, cylinder projection. And I think that just might work a little better for trying to... Let's see. I also want to make sure all of the scales are applied. Yeah, scale's fine. Yeah, my cylinder can give you stretching and stuff, but also for like wrapping things around this way, it can be very handy. Okay. And now we just kind of exist within this one space and just kind of follow what it says. I'm going to do a cylinder projection from the top view here, which should leave me with, yeah, a couple lines like this. So I can cleanly lay these in here somewhere now. In fact, let's try sticking them right there. And that works pretty good. This bit over here is looking a little bit funky, so I might restick this somewhere. Here, U cube projection. Let's maybe stick it here with the speckles. And cool. And this is where we get to also start listening to what the geometry is kind of saying. So like right here, it kind of looks indented. So I might actually add a little bit of stuff here. Here, control click there. And Alt E, extrude faces inwards. I'm gonna do the same for this. Cool. Maybe bevel. Beveling is always good. This bit kind of already looks as if it could be inset, so let's just do it. Do it for real. I'm gonna be doing a little video about just nice speed modeling techniques in a bit here. I already have it mostly written. I just have like 4 videos I'm in the middle of trying to finish up. Let's see if we can use one of these as kind of a grill and see if that actually works. Oh yeah, that works good. It works okay. But I really am excited about this bit. So, project from view. Let's go into local view. And I'm just gonna stick it in here. Cool. And let's see if we can make this headlight a little better. I hit K to bring up the knife tool. And now I'm just tracing it right here. There we go. E to extrude out, I to inset it, close enough. Extrude it back, and here, we'll grab the headlight too. I just like this process. I like letting the model dictate the textures, dictate the model again. Extrude, inset, pull out, bevel that ring, and yeah, we got a little rounded headlight. These pieces were a little bit too close, so they're overlapping, but if you double tap G, you can straighten them out. Alright, that's a kind of interesting shape for sure. What if we bevel all of no. And I don't even know if we have to do anything with back here. We could, but I think it's probably fine as is. And if you ever want, you can always go in and re-bevel some stuff. That's looking a little, yeah, shade smooth and then auto smooth. This bit looks kind of not great, I suppose. Maybe we'll fix it. So that's, yeah, that's looking kind of weird. So let's say unwrap, just gives us this nice square here. So I like the idea of it having these access panels. And again, rotating it so that the grease is actually streaking downwards. That's working pretty good. Yeah, that feels real. And then if we want, we can follow this geometry a bit. Extrude that out. Extrude all of these out. All right. And we're kind of just going to go around and do that for all the pieces. These ones right here are kind of ugly, and I think they're just going to be a little bit ugly, at least for now. I think first thing I want to do is bevel some of these corners here. Oh, here, let me turn on screencast keys. And again, I'm going to do the next video about how to, you know, what all of these different random beveling and modeling techniques are that I like to use. And a lot of them are pretty common, but there might also be a couple that you are not aware of. This is a nice technique for being able to select just a bunch of interior corners all at once by Control-Alt clicking, and if you hold down Shift, you can select a bunch of them. But yeah, there we go, rounding all of that out just at one time. Cool, okay, and let's create some kind of like anti-gravity pads on the underside here. I'm going to hit I to inset. Whoa, that one's a little funky. I guess that one will be too. I to inset, and now maybe I'll select these. E to extrude downwards. These little corners here are going to give us problems, so I'm going to go to the bottom view and just lob them off. Cool. Now, extrude up, inset, extrude, and let's create a new material. Actually, let's expand this selection a little bit, and this will be, well, first we'll stick this just somewhere dark to contrast with the bottom. Oh, we haven't even set the bottom yet. Okay, let's just set up the overall thing. Okay, and let's try to get all of this at once. So I'm going to hit U. I'm going to do a project from view. And let's just try slinging it somewhere kind of interesting. Something like this. Like that's cool right there. And now what we have to do is fix this stretching. So I'll just alt-click on this loop here. Maybe here. Grab these straggler bits. And go to the side and hit, let's see, can I just hit Q projection for that? Yeah, and we just have to figure out where a good place is to stick this. Boring. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Yeah. And maybe here we'll bring this one piece back over here to be the stripes. Alright, and one issue I'm running into is I already made these angled girders here, kind of on a whim, and I shouldn't have, because it was too powerful of a thing to have done before I had applied the textures. So, and this now makes it so this is actually kind of hard to clean up, which is a little annoying. But here, let's see what happens if we stick this like that. That's, ooh, that is cool. And that's right, let's go back to this area here. I'm gonna select all these inner panels. Oh. Expand the selection a bit. And I'm gonna hit U, project from view, and I'm just gonna stick them somewhere dark. I'm not even really worried about them being high res or anything. It's just gonna read as dark. Cool, now I can select all of these, and let's give them all that same grill material, maybe. U, project from view. Cool, deselect that, deselect that, deselect that. And how's that look? Oh, that's kind of nifty. Oh, I should have grabbed that one too. Where are you? Right now, this doesn't all fit. I think at this scale, especially once we... Oh, wait, no, it does fit. All right. We've done one. Now that just leaves the other one. One thing I really like is slapping the image on there kind of like randomly and then justifying it with the modeling process if we haven't already done that. You can see a little bit of what I'm talking about here, and you might be thinking like this looks really obvious, like you can see exactly this is just a picture on some geometry, but we will fix that. That's mostly the specular map. In fact, here, let's just turn that down, and you can see already it's just works a little bit better. But yeah, let's try to make this look a little nicer. So select that, U, cube projection, and let's try, yeah, I like this. I like how it kind of looks smooth and yellow, and then there's kind of this implied underhang bit. Cool, okay, so let's start with this part. And what I really like, I like these details right here. And so I'm just gonna model, I'm gonna add a bunch of edge loops for those details. Oh, here, I should turn on the screencast keys. Screencast keys. It always says they're on, but they're not actually on. So, okay, there's that one, there's that one. To slide these, I'm just gonna double tap G to match the perspective here. And then I'm gonna use the knife tool. Love the knife tool. Alright, so I've added a bunch of edge loops and new geometry here, and honestly, I don't know how this is going to work at this point. I just kind of knew that I was setting myself up, hopefully, for success later on. So I'm going to select all this, or some of this new stuff I want to pull out. And actually, you know what? I'm going to duplicate it, and then I'm going to extrude it a little bit right here. And here, let's take this top bar here and pull that out a little bit more. I'm gonna add a, I'm gonna inset it. Gonna hit I to inset it and extrude it in a little bit to make it look like, I don't know, some angle iron or something like that. Let's do the same with these guys here. Extrude, inset, extrude. I'm basically just trying to add as much easy detail as I can, honestly. These are just greebles, so if it just, as long as it looks like something, you know. And insetting and extruding is a really good way to do that. Also, metal things tend to be made of folded metal. It's rarely just a big solid piece of metal, because that would be really, really heavy. And so if you can ever make something that easily looks as if it's made of folded, you know, sheets of steel, that's going to probably look fairly okay. And here, let's add something here. Extrude that out. Actually, let's select this, make it a new object, because this is a useful little piece right here. This would have, I don't know if I would have randomly just made this piece, but I'm happy we have it. So if you think you're going to be using a piece a lot, like you might be copying and pasting it and sticking it around, it's usually worth it to try to fix some of the textures a bit. Grabbing some of these other pieces too, doing the same thing. Alright, got that. Cube projection. Let's just throw it here. Let's see. Can I just grab half of this and like flip it, stick it back over, and that way we can use a smaller piece twice. Alright, I mean, I guess we could try it yellow. That's actually kind of cool, isn't it? I guess it's kind of weird, but let's see, is there something that kind of splits the difference? Like dark yellow, or if I do this bit? Huh, make it a little rusty. I guess that kind of works okay. Or I've got all this drippy stuff right here. Yeah, that works. That works pretty good. And then if we're really obsessed, we can go through and start adding all these little bevels and things to smooth stuff out. And I like this, where you have something and you just get to decide how far you want to push it. And here's a little time lapse of me modeling this object. It just took me like half an hour, and it didn't really demonstrate anything I was trying to demonstrate anyways. That said, if you're interested in the modeling techniques, I'm working really hard on actively trying to put together a video going through all of the different hotkeys and cool tools and variations of stuff you can do with those tools that'll help you really model quick if you're into that sort of thing. Been scripting it all. It'll actually be scripted, unlike this, which is me just talking and hoping the words come. But yeah, you can see here, I was just trying to place this everywhere. Couldn't really find good places that all gelled, and so I was kind of just brute forcing it. And yep, still trying. Found that little front bit with the bolts. That turned out cool. Probably should have knife tooled that to really make them a little 3D. Don't know why there's a grill there. This is kind of looking like a train bumper or something like that. So why is there a mesh? I don't know. See, I've run out of stuff to say already. Pasty and still having to go at it, man. Okay, well that's an object, and to be honest, it doesn't look as good as I hoped. And a lot of that I think has to do with not actually having set up the textures all that great to begin with. Over here, if these were all kind of the same value, like if I didn't have magenta and this blue stuff and this yellow stuff and this kind of greenish stuff, I could pick stuff that worked texturally instead of just like going by color. Like this yellow is all so clean, so once I decide to go in a yellow direction, it kind of locks me in more than I wanted to. Effectively, the issue I ran into was the source texture. Normally, I really like having all of these little details that I can use the knife tool and cut out and pop out and be like, hey, I have this train bit now. And but I also know from experience it's nice to have these big flat areas. It just happens that in this case, the flat areas are too flat. Like, there was just not really any good stuff there. It's just the yellow. And so the only part I had that was good was this chunk like right here and some of these seams really for all the texturing. So that's just a thing to keep in mind. Having something a little bit more in between could be useful. But yeah, let's try applying this stuff back to that one object here. So here's right click, set origin to geometry. This works really good. Oh, this is gonna be an excellent piece. And we can stick this like here. And what's cool about this piece here is this piece was made specifically for this project. It reads as this kind of both train / construction equipment aesthetic. And so it's going to be a piece we can just use a bunch, even though, again, I'm not super in love with it. But in fact, we should make one more. I'm going to make one more piece that's just really low poly that hopefully just that can do what I was originally trying to do, which was be a hinge type bit. Okay, now I'll just select this and this and this and this and extrude. Go to individual origins, scale them to 0. Okay, now let's cube project this onto like here. And there we go. Now we have a random little hinge. That's still pretty high detail. Yeah, that's nice. So now we can use this to hold up, you know. So here, let's rotate these bits. This will be where we mount like these panels here. Yeah, that's a much... This is honestly a much more useful little bit than this one that we made. It's a big yellow crazy beans piece. This piece is still going to be handy all the time, though. Here, let's stick another one on the other side. Alright, and let's see if we can clean up this piece a little bit here. Let's bevel that all so it's looking nicer. I like this kind of looking like an engine down in here. Yeah, we'll keep that. We might not even tweak that all that much. I don't know what to do about the underside here, and so I'm just gonna inset it and recess it and try to throw some random details on there that hopefully just read as filler. Yeah, that's nice. And we can actually follow some of this geometry if we want to, but I don't even know if we really need to. The cube really ties it all together, you know. This bit, I think I'm going to give the same treatment as right here. And let's see. If I just extrude this up, we're going to get stretching. So I might just kind of angle it a little bit. Uh-oh. Whoa. Sure. It's like right here, if I select all of this, extrude it a little, and then just grab these pieces right here, we can keep these edges from being stretched. I guess we still got to fix up these areas here, but that's not too hard. In fact, if we're lucky, we can just grab that, and there we go. It fixes the whole thing. I'm not going to worry about that. Extrude this up, and if I just bevel this top edge, that's going to eat in, and that kind of brings it all back a little bit too. Yeah, that's nice. Here, let's give it like a weird bumper thing on the front too. Extrude that out. Cube project, let's try throwing it. Let's see if we can just grab these pieces. And we're gonna get a lot of mileage out of this little caution bar here. Cool. And this is the part where you look at it and you go, hey, this is good enough that I should keep working on it just because it's almost like holds up to scrutiny, which is my favorite point, because I always start just trying to do everything as quickly as I can. And so when just like my pride in my work finally kicks in, and I'm like, I actually want to make this good just for its own sake. That's always a good place to be. Okay, I'm gonna select this loop here, and let's see. I might have to mark a seam. Let's select these here and hit Control E, mark seam, and that should make unwrapping some of these bits a little bit easier. U, unwrap. Yeah, and so now if we use UV squares, which I think comes with Blender, we can click to grid by shape, and that straightens out the whole thing, so we can actually just line this up somewhere like that. Oh, come on, let me... Yeah, but the seam will follow the geometry, which is good. Sure. And right now you might be looking at this like, whatever, it kind of looks like a bad video game asset or something. But once it's rendered, it actually looks pretty good. Here, let's shade smooth. Yeah, that looks okay. Let's work on the texture a little bit too. So I'm going to select the sun lamp here, because we're going to need that. And I want to bring some of this specular back in. But I definitely want to control how it's applied. So dark values are usually perfectly glossy, and white are really rough. And so I want to invert that, because I want the yellow pieces to be the most shiny, I think. let's map a texture into there. I'm gonna hit Control T, and that's gonna link this up to just the next available node, but I'm gonna plug it into, yeah, I'm gonna plug that into the roughness instead, and just load in something that looks like a greasy, streaky metal. Let's try this one. Might not work, but this is all very, very glossy. But maybe that's okay. If we Control Shift click on this, we can see what it's doing. And here, I might actually change the scale here to 2, just so that it has a little bit more detail here. Cool. And let's use this image texture to also control the bump map. So we'll add a vector bump here into the height. I'm just going to pull the distance way down and tweak the strength a little bit, and that feels a little bit more textural. It's probably, again, still a little too glossy, but I'm kind of down for just rolling with that. Okay, and I'm gonna play around a little bit more just with these pieces that we made. I like the idea of using this kind of as a platform that wraps around. Like something like this could actually be kind of, yeah, that actually works pretty cool. We can squish it that way a little bit. Oh, and here, I'm gonna Shift D duplicate it so I can play around with it without everything getting all funky. Let's see, yeah, put it on the other side. And let's just isolate these bits right here. Actually, can I slant the whole thing? Yeah. Control Alt Shift S lets us slant that and straighten that up a little bit. I think I can just take these off here. Alright, so now I'm going to select all of these bits, and hopefully it'll work, even though some of them are Alt-D duplicated. I'm not sure. But can I just hit Control-J and join? I can! Great! And so now it'll update over here. So, I forgot about this cable, and so I didn't really leave room for it. I think that's going to mostly be okay, because I think it's always going to be hidden by other stuff. That said, we can make, we can hide where it goes in. Here, let's see, let's put this up here. Just make a specific little cover. And to make a bracket, there's let's try doing it just out of 2D bits. Here, I'm going to go into Material Preview, and I just want to make it real quick. So let's kind of extrude out like this. Is that about the right angle? Where is it? Yeah, about right there. Okay. This will go down. Try to make it all about the same thickness. Cool. Gonna round out these corners here with Control Shift B to bevel them. And let's smooth out some of this other stuff too. Alright, and then I'm gonna hit X, Limited Dissolve. And that means I can inset it like that. And here, I'm gonna extrude the whole thing just a little. Select this loop again, extrude that. Maybe just from here to here. I'll do one more layer. Same over here, because it's easy. And yeah, I like the idea of just this back bit being a little fatter to kind of protect the bolts or whatever is inside of there. So cool. Maybe let's do the same thing. Same thing down here. Little tab. Again, if you want, you can go through and design all of this. Like, you can design what every single aspect does, and that will look better in the end. But a lot of times, just what you're trying to do is give that impression that it's all been designed. And sometimes just having a sufficient amount of geometry can be the way to do that. Alright. So, link material, Control L, this to that. Link, oh, material, cube projection. I added a little, whoa, that one's all stretched. Probably means I don't have the scale applied. Control A, apply scale, U, cube, it's still doing it. Okay, well, I'm not gonna stress about it. Let's try sticking it down here. I just added this to the texture sampler. It's a piece that I just like, and it's fairly high res, so yeah, that's all right. Here, let's see if we can use that seam a little bit. Sure. And because one thing you really do want to do is have a variety. You want some really small pieces in there too. Like, if I made a little hook and just put that little, like, mounting hook everywhere, or, like, mounting rails where you could attach other stuff, or, like, handrails, that does a lot. Especially because it controls the silhouette. Like, if I add a couple additional pipes sticking off the back, even from back here, you'd see those details, as opposed to, like, all the other details we've added which disappear. Things that are mounted around the edges. In fact, I might add some rails and things to these panels, just because, like, I know they'll really make a big impact. I like this, actually. I'm gonna use this one piece even more. Let's see. First, let's normalize that perspective a little bit. Oh, and yeah, let's see if we can. I like it kind of looking like a flap there on the back. That's kind of cool. We'll shorten this up. And these little bits are just nice little extra stuff. Let's delete these vertices. This piece is great. I'm gonna use this, I think, a bunch of other places. I'm gonna stick it over here, but I'm also gonna put it back where it belongs as some sort of extra heat sink for this smokestack. Yeah, let's see where else we can put this. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, let's stick that on there. Let's do the other one too. In fact, we can justify some of this weird texturing a little bit, I think, if we just trying to follow the contours a little here. So this is already looking like fairly high poly. We're maybe going a little bit too heavy with the yellow and black stripes. So I might go in and pull some of those, especially like, I guess this back bit here just kind of looks sloppy. But in general, it's an aesthetic that I like. I do not know how I'm gonna do this cradle thing. I like this aesthetic of the kind of this grill. I might do something kind of like that. It's looking actually, I guess, a little bit sloppy. It needs some bigger boulder shapes to kind of break it up. But I might do something like that for this. But maybe I will do that in a part 3, because my guess is this is already fairly long. And of course, I had to hop in VR and see what everything felt like, you know, in to scale. It was crazy. Like, this crazy feeling of vertigo as it lifts off into the air and all of that, which does not translate at all to a two-dimensional, you know, screen capture. I'm also figuring out slowly the mechanism for lifting up the crate. I'm going to have it kind of split the difference, because I don't want it attached to the ship at the beginning, so I'm going to have a system of cables that kind of comes and draws it in tight. So that's it for this one. Sorry about the accelerated bits. I was effectively cramming 2.5 hours plus of video into like half an hour, because it's mostly just me introducing a concept and then doing that concept over and over and over. But and I'm kind of don't know where to go next, because the next thing to do would be start modeling the very, very tiny bits and placing them everywhere, and that part can take, like, 4 hours. I put on a couple movies and I'll just be happily putting little hooks and rails and stuff all over and little tiny antennas and stuff, but it's probably not particularly good television. So we'll see what the next video is. You just saw I had a couple mocapped people doing all of that. I've been documenting that process too, so I might lump all of that into kind of a final video for the finishing touches of kind of making the shot type thing. Anyways, if you're still watching, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. All right.